Everybody, welcome back. It's been a minute. Sorry about that. Life's real busy. But here we are. Star Chiefs back up on the block. Ford's in the background. Chevelle's still getting worked on. Too many projects. But here we are with the Pontiac. I have a new transmission for it. And when I say this car is a budget build, I mean doesn't really get any cheaper. I'm going to be painting it here soon, but so far all I have in this car is I put on the spark plug wires I had on the shelf, the cheapest Amazon Pontiac HEI distributor I could find. It was a 2-barrel car. This is a $50 Pontiac swap meet intake. That is a $20 eBay master cylinder. I paid $250 for this transmission. It's out of a 65 Oldsmobile, and it sat outside for some time, so it's a little not perfect, but when I opened it up, it had a little bit of water sitting in the bottom of the pan, and I dumped everything out, checked all this. This looks perfectly fine. I mean, it looks fantastic. There was zero clutch material in the pan, so I'm assuming it was a low mile car because it's also not incredibly greasy, and you can tell that it hasn't been like really cleaned because there's no grease in these spots and like around this kick down switch thingy, I believe it is, and like all these hard to get spots, those usually get missed, and it's clearly never been apart. So I believe that is a low mile good turbo 400 long tail shaft, which is what this car requires. That's why I couldn't use my other one. At the moment, get ready to put that on, or at least get it ready. And then here in a second, I'm going to get this car up in the air, take transmission out for the second time now, which is just fantastic. I love that. Oh well, it is what it is. But so far what I've got on bodywork is I filled in all the holes where the trim went, because I don't want to mess with putting it back on. This is all factory from where they grafted the roof on. I've got some short strand fiberglass in the big spots. Still need to sand that down. And then here soon, maybe tonight, depending on how things go, I will be sanding more of this and then putting on my skin coat of Bondo to cover it all up. Really, I gotta fill that with short strand fiberglass, and then I believe there's another spot. I might mess with that. I'm not going too deep because, as you can tell, if you count the doors, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not worth anything to anybody. So I'm not going, expensive on this. I mean, I'm not even going to patch that down there because, I mean, it's below eye level. Nobody's really going to see it. The car sits low enough that if anybody's down here looking like this at a car show, they can see it. I don't care. Screw them. But most of it, all this is good metal. We're going to throw that paint on it. And the paint is quite literally red tractor paint and blue tractor paint. I just mixed in this bucket. Then we're going to spray it with Harbor Freight guns that I got over there. And everything is as cheap as possible. I need to run cleaner through the block because on Pontiacs you can actually see into the head from here when you take the intake off, and it is very gooey and coked with oil. So she's got some miles under her belt, so I'm gonna run cleaner through the engine, make it all good to go, because it runs fantastic. I mean, fantastic. Every bit of power as it did today, it came off a lot. Was an AC car. AC did hold charge, so it still had refrigerant in the system when I took that off. But yada yada yada. Let's get to it. Let's knock this out hopefully tonight. Alright, so new transmission, old transmission. Got this potato out, took the pan off so I could not make a gigantic mess, and me and my buddy tried rebuilding that. Turns out we are not certified transmission mechanics, because we started with some semblance of a forward gear and reverse, and now we have park and a bunch of neutrals, and there's a ton of material in the pan, and I cleaned this thing inside and out, so something's very wrong there. So if I ever care, I'll have someone rebuild it. Not me though, I'm not good at that stuff. So over here I got rid of the Oldsmobile accumulator thing, which was also full of water. Put a Pontiac one on, moved over my transmission cooler lines, doohickey mabobbers, and then I cleaned up the pan because it was really crusty, and then I just sprayed it with some paint that I had laying around here, which just happened to be metallic. So now I've got a chrome pan. That's like another 30 horsepower right there. Old heads love that shit. But, you know, this comes out not too hard. Honestly, since I've done it before, it's just kind of secondhand nature. You've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts on the cross member. You have your 6 bell housing bolts, your shift linkage, your 1 wire, vacuum line, and the 2 power steering lines, or gosh darn it, transcooler lines, and then 3 flex plate bolts. And then you can basically just drop it right out, and then your engine is free to move. So yeah, currently waiting on paint to dry, quite literally. And then once that's dry, I will get it underneath the car, put it in it, get everything bolted up. Not to forget my torque converter. I'm still waiting on my filter and a new gasket. So I'm going to put it in. I'm not going to put any fluid in it or anything, so that I don't have to mess with all that stuff. Oh, I might have to actually switch over my shift linkage. Yep, that's different than this one. So yeah, I'll switch over my shift linkage quick. But tomorrow I get my pan gasket and stuff, but work has me busy for probably the better part of over 24 hours. So I'll just get to it when I get to it, you know what I mean? The car ain't going nowhere. So, and I need to pick up some gaskets for this sucker. And then we're going to throw it all together. I'm just going to put a quadrijet on there. Since it's a 4-barrel, I don't want to mess with all that other stuff. So we have a rebuilt Edelbrock. Not rebuilt Edelbrock. It's a ProFlow rebuilt carburetor that will go nicely right there. And of course I'll clean it up, and I'm going to clean up all of this too and repaint it Pontiac. It's metallic blue, and you know, the works. And I'll probably take off all this AC crap, because I don't think I'm going to be putting on it, because the car is getting sold anyways. Sending it on down the road as soon as I go get title for it. It's done. Sending it down the road so I can finish these other projects. Oh my god, this took forever. This is a nightmare. It's the next day. So, do your research before you start buying stuff. So I wasn't wrong. This is a Turbo 400, long tail shaft, it's massive, all that. Well, problem is, most of them have a singular kickdown blade. As you can see right there, there's 2 of them. Which means this was a 2-year-only transmission that I believe Buick and Oldsmobile used a bunch. So what it is it's called a switch pitch. So that right there is the 2-prong connector actually gives you a high stall and a low stall for your converter for driving. So this is a unobtainable converter. You basically have to have one custom built, which is a nightmare and north of $500-600. So I had to use the original one, and that's why none of these would work, because these are regular ones and they have a different spline set up on them. So you can't put a normal turbo 400 converter in them. So what that does is it's really cool actually. It's actually really nice and, you know, a great idea. It just cost too much for them to continue doing it back in the day. So what it is, when you are just like slow cruising, just normal driving around town, you keep your low stall so you have better cruising comfort while driving. And then if you absolutely smash on the pedal, it'll kick your converter into a high stall, which gives you a much snappier response, much more. It's for like, high stalls are for performance engines. Something that you don't want to like bog down when you smash the gas pedal. It just boom, snappy right there. So it's actually a really cool idea, but a nightmare if you don't know what you're doing, and then it's also a nightmare if you don't have the right converter. So now I can finally get to putting this darn thing in the car. Alrighty, so back today. I gotten a lot of work done. I don't have a whole lot of time to record this stuff. I'm kind of just throwing it together when I get the time. So new transmission's in. It works. Great news. Fantastic news. It works perfect. As soon as you throw it in gear, goes into reverse, goes into first. I've driven it down the road. Perfect. No slippage, nothing. So on that account, I had to reuse the old 2-barrel because the 4-barrel intake was from a newer one, and it has this massive EGR junk on the bottom of it, and this valley pan is too shallow for it to sit in there, so I had to use 2-barrel. Oh well, I'm not that upset because I didn't have to figure out how to rig up all of the jigamajoo and the kick down switch and all that stuff. I didn't have to worry about all that, so cool. Not that worried. I had to put a new section of fuel line in it because the other stuff was probably original and it did not. Wasn't happy. So that's that. I'm working on bodywork now. Sanding down all of this short strand fiberglass. Now, do not do like I did. I used way too much, so I'm having to sand down a whole lot. I'm constantly having to feel it. And I'm not worried about this car being perfect. You run your hand down this, and you can just feel tons of dents and stuff. None of it's smooth. This is, I still knocked down some of that. But as long as it's mostly covering up the holes where all the pins are, we'll be good. So what I'm doing now is just knocking all this down. This is going to be a real pain in the butt knocking this stuff down because it's right in a crease. And then I'm going to seal these together with Bondo to make it look like a seamless thing. It's just part of it. So I'm going to do that. Knock down all of this. Throw some more short strand fiberglass down here in this hole. I'm going to clean it up a little bit and shove that full of fiberglass. Let that dry. Set that up. While that's drying, I'll be putting on some Bondo, slicking this stuff down real smooth like. Nothing crazy, no big amounts of it. Just a skin coat, just to make it smooth and blend a little better. This car's not going to be perfect in the slightest. So, I'm not that worried. And it's a 4-door car. It's not exactly something people absolutely lose their minds over. And then hopefully, by the end of the day, if I really crack on this, I can get the masking off done, all that. Yada bing, bada boom. And then I can at least try to throw a base layer down. I'm hoping I can get that figured out, get it enough time to do it. But I don't really have much to do today, so hopefully that'll get that first layer on at the minimum. That way I don't have to worry about it, and I can actually start making progress, stop like just looking at it in my yard. And then I go by, get my title for it, and send it down the road. Someone else's problem. Cool car. And I love Pontiacs, but this is not the one for me. And I have my Ford, my Chevelle, my Buick, and then my square body truck to do. And this one, to be honest, don't want it that badly. Because that Buick and the Chevelle are way cooler. So, yeah, getting stuff done. Alright, I apologize for the noise, but I gotta have circulation in here so I'm not filling this place with dust. So I got all this stuff knocked down pretty well smooth. I made a mistake. I used short strand fiberglass like it was body filler, and I used way too much of it. So really all I needed here was to fill this seam and cover up this seam where the roof was grafted on. Well, I went above and beyond for some reason, and now I am probably going to spend the better part of an hour sanding all of this down when I really didn't need to, which is crappy. So I gotta say, I'm glad I did not do the same on this side. I'm just filling the big cracks in the Bondo instead of taking it all out, the original body filler, and I'll throw a little bit in this seam, cover that up. But I'm just gonna clean this up as best I can. This shouldn't be as hard because I didn't do all of this, so this should be a quick knockdown. But learn from my mistakes. This shouldn't be too bad. This is going to be kind of a pain in the butt, but there was a huge crack in the body filler right here, so I had to fill that in pretty hard, and this is going to, yeah, do not use this stuff so thickly like I did. It is a pain in the butt to work it down to a smooth surface. So there's that. Not a lot of fun. There's way too much in here. Alrighty, so sanding's done for the first part. Everything's smoothed out, soft to the touch, real smooth. No big lips. So next up is applying Bondo. And I'm not going crazy with Bondo like everybody used to do. I'm just skin coating it, making it nice and smooth, sealing up this, hiding this little line, smoothing out all of this because there is a gap right here because I was too lazy to take all this off because it is a absolute pain in the rear. So I'm just going to smooth all this out. Nice easy transitions, perfect. And then I got a little bit over that hole that I found right there. A little bit of short strand fiberglass to fill it. And then I filled up that hole, which we're going to have to wait for it to cure. And then I'll sand it down, and then I'll have to apply some Bondo because it won't fill all of the hole perfectly. Yeah, oh, forgot to sand this little part down here. I'll have to do that real quick. This is smoothed out. This is just because it's lower right there because of that massive hole. Couldn't get the fiberglass to fill it perfectly, so that'll be just a bit of Bondo. It ain't gonna be nothing more than 1/8 inch max. And then this is all smooth to the touch. Got that cleaned up so I can throw some Bondo in there. All these holes are filled pretty well. This should turn out pretty decent, if I do say so. I'll have to cut that thing off, get that out of there, from part of the trim. But we're getting there, slowly but surely. This takes a long time, and I'm going through it fast because I really am not that worried. I'm not going for perfection. So if you're going to do proper body work, it takes a lot longer than this. I don't have the patience, so there's that. Alright, so here we are. We got the rest of the body work on. Now I just need to start sanding all of this. I think this should cover up the majority of it. I might get a little more something to cover up this stuff. And then, yeah, got this all covered in. Just needs to blend it pretty well. And should be pretty well for paint. I'm gonna need to sand this. It still feels like it needs a little more time to cure since it's a little thicker, this fiberglass is. But that's fine. I'm not worried about that. This one's real thick and it needs a pretty good amount of time to cure. Oh yeah. But this should be roughly the final sand, and then I'll find some primer or something to cover up the big spots, just kind of make it all uniform, and then we'll start spraying it in paint. And it'll be purple instead of white and green and gray and brown. So, yeah. This is moderately terrifying to find when you take the wheel off. That would appear to be a Black Widow. That looks like one, but it doesn't have the marking. I don't know, but I'm gonna kill it with fire. I'll tell you that much. Alright, so sorry about the noise. Air compressor's running, so I don't have a big enough one to really paint a whole car quickly. But I think it's much better this time. I laid down a lot more paint, and I figured out my fan. Much less striping. Very smooth surface. This is all looking mucho better. It does not help that it has, you know, dings from hail and all the other stuff. But that's, you know, I'm not going for perfection. I didn't care to make it, you know, absolutely showroom quality. I'm having trouble back here keeping the stripes out of it. I don't know what's going on. I think the gun, the paint I'm using is, I've had it in that bucket for a handful of months now, and the problem is that it's kind of gotten chunky. Some of the pieces have like dried up, and then I keep accidentally getting it into the paint gun. I think it's clogging it up and it's not spraying enough correctly. So I think that's where my striping problems are coming from. So I'm glad I did the front of the car and the hood first, so that it didn't get all messy through there. But that's why I'm using $15 Harbor Freight guns. I got this done, that side, and I just have this patch right here left. That's not the right answer, but because it's such a solid color, I don't really have to worry about not doing a whole panel at once. But I think it's gonna look pretty sweet. I'd like to find a set of wheels, but I don't really have any wheels for it that would fit properly. And I don't feel like spending any more money on this thing, so we're either gonna stick with the hubcaps or see if a set of wheels I have will fit on it. But yeah, this is how it's going. Total pain in the butt. And then this is the paint bucket I use for tractor paint. And I got my hardener. To really make tractor paint last, you need the hardener. And then I've got my reducer so that I can thin it out, because tractor paint's super thick. It doesn't like to spray out of a gun, so you gotta thin it up a whole bunch. But my fuel pump died. Real annoying. But this should look real sweet. And I just need to get the stuff on the roof done, but I'm not painting it this color, doing a faux vinyl top. Alright everybody, figured it out why the gun was doing what it was doing. So it was exactly what I said. The chunks that dried up and I missed in there made it into the strainer in the gun. Sure enough, I took it off and it was just clogged, so I unclogged it, filtered the paint back into it, and now I have a nice, perfectly smooth surface, no striping. I did make a mistake though, is when I was spraying all this, I kind of oversprayed onto that a little bit, and tractor's paint looks how it sprays. So yeah, see how that's all shiny? That's because I laid it real wet. That just got a little bit of overspray, so it's not nearly as shiny. So I should have re-hit that, and then in all honesty, I should have hit the bottom of this quarter as well. But it looks pretty decent. It does not look bad at all. So much better than it did yesterday. And I think the same thing happened yesterday, is that paint clogged up the strainer in there. Oh, love that. Get out of my paint. But yeah, I even went around and I opened the hood, did the sides of it, all that stuff. I painted the trunk lid just to do it. And now, for everybody's favorite part, we're gonna unmask this thing. Come on. Yes, sir. That looks good. This is gonna take a second. Honestly, I might want to wait on this even. It's still a little wet. But who cares? It's my car. I do what I want. Woo-wee! I tell you what, that chrome and that purple done complement each other pretty darn well. Oh, this is a pain in the butt because of how I put it on. Hard part's not touching the paint. Gosh dang, how many layers did I put on this thing? Woo-wee! Tell you what. Dang, that's some good tape right there. Yeah, so when I was throwing some primer down over this bare metal, I was definitely less than careful with it. So I will have to take some steel wool to all the chrome parts, clean them up, make them shine up just that much better. But little things, little things. Oh, there we go. Gosh, who put this on there? I ought to kick them in the head. Yep, that'll just be for later. Let's do this one. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, good Lord. What even is this? Ah, gosh dang it. Ah, don't get on the paint. This is entirely on me for doing this. But it's so much fun. Honestly, that's the whole reason I did a paint job. Not because I wanted to change the color of the car, I just wanted to pull the tape off. Oh yeah. There we go. That's gonna look real good. Clean up the chrome. Clean the windows. If I care, I might try and attempt some tint, because I got some like 20% tint. Any tint's better than no tint. Yep. And then I get to do this all over again when I go to do the top part. Oh dang it. I done got that. Oh well, that's easy enough. It should honestly just peel right off. Woo-wee. Yep, y'all get the point though. She's looking good. I'll come back with an update once I got the front end reassembled. Well, I went to go reassemble the front end because the grill is multiple pieces, and I realized I had totally forgotten to grab those, and that. I'd forgotten to grab it all and paint it. So I was like, dang, I think there should be more to this grill than there is here. Sure enough, I just forgot these things. So I grabbed those out, got them painted up and drying now so that I can reassemble the grill. And then for some ingenious reason, I didn't put the bumper hardware back. So now I gotta find new bumper hardware. But she should get back together today. So long as my back doesn't start just hurting like no other. And while I was at it, I mixed up way too much paint, so I did all that and this and skipped this because I'm lazy and I didn't want to get paint all over everything else. Did both sides all this. Oh, that's wet. Who'd guess that one? I did all that just to, you know, a little bit nicer. So it's not just entirely white. Now you gotta look for the white, kinda. And then while I was at it, I kind of shot another layer right there. And instead of doing the right thing, it fish-eyed. That's fish-eye. That's from oil. The paint won't stick to it. That's what I get for touching on it and then just being like, oh, I'll spray it down quick. Here I go. Look at me, being an idiot. That's alright. I kind of shot some more on this too because it was a little dull, because that was right whenever the gun started getting clogged up. But, yeah, I did this side too. Really just tie it all together mostly. It's about ready. Just need to go get the truck bed liner up here. I think me and the wife asked her opinion. She said she wanted white. She didn't think white would look good. I don't know. I think the white would really pop. And since it's going to be a very dull, like truck bed liner kind of gritty look to it, it'll take away from all of the horribleness of the paint. But I also think a black would look really good too to really tie in the dark colors. We'll probably end up doing the white, and then whatever color we do up top, we're going to do a stripe along the body line here. All of that on both sides to catch your eye more instead of looking at the horrendous paint. So, because when you look at a car, you kind of follow the top of it. So you see how the Pontiac's got the body line here. So when you start to look at the car, your eyes immediately are drawn to this big sweep right there on back here, and then it kind of fans out to these chrome pieces. So and then you start noticing all the other little stuff once your eyes have caught all the big parts, the big shiny part that draws you in. That little stripe right there will really just keep you away from the other horrendous stuff. Fun part. I have to figure out how to get these trims on here, but all of this is rotted away and there's nothing to grab to. So I'm gonna have to get creative with some self tappers, and then I need to take that off so I can clean it up because I painted it like an idiot. But I got the chrome trims up front. Very nice as well, because the fender wells look pretty decent, so it'll take your eyes off other stuff. But oh yeah, I think leaving the chrome was a great idea. It really just pops on it. Today's paint went mucho grande better. Car's actually shiny. It's not perfect, it's got orange peel, but next kid that gets it, he really cares. He can wet sand that smooth and it'll look really good. But my horrendous body work can only do so much. So that's the next fella's problem. I think I have done this car justice. Alright everybody, this is going to wrap it up for this episode of Belly Running Customs. All done up, purdied. Looks pretty good, in all honesty. Out here in the sunlight, it ain't perfect. There's a bit of a shine to it. The grill is just my chef's kiss. Gorgeous car. I have these hubcaps. Not a big fan of them, but like you saw earlier, these ones, I think these are going to do it for me, if I'm being honest. I like that gold spokes look to it. They're actually the Buick's, the bitchin' Buick's original hubcaps, but I think they might be going on this sucker. She's all did up. The trunk looks real good. It turned out really nice. Aside from the fact that it's, you know, I didn't do my job and do the bodywork correctly. And I got around and I cleaned up the interior much better. And then package tray was horrible, so I just threw a piece of fabric I had over it and glued it down, and it looks pretty decent. Aside from the front seat being completely mutilated over here and there, a really good looking car. There we go. Pretty sweet. New transmission works phenomenal. Fuel pump is completely shit the bed. It is spraying fuel out of it as it when it's running, it's just dumping fuel out. I mean, I probably dumped a quarter tank of fuel just moving it around the yard. But there you have it. I'll finish up the top part later, but it's not going to be enough to make it into this video. And then I have some tint. I may attempt throwing tint on these windows just for the hell of it, but there you go. From rotten and dead to the world, bound to be a derby car, to a pretty neat little car that'll be great for somebody. Thanks for watching. This car's done. Ready to be sold.